Welcome back, sports fans, to another episode of the 2315 Sports. So we're on episode 13, lucky number 13, which is actually pretty good because we're going dancing. We're talking everything March Madness in this episode. Probably a shorter one just because no reason to get involved a whole lot on every single team in this thing. But should be good. Should be a nice, short, sweet little episode for you guys. So we'll go right into it. We're gonna start with Selection Sunday and our reactions to it, the seedings, teams that got in, any teams we think got snubbed. What do you got? Do you have any teams that got snubbed per se?
I don't necessarily think there was any teams that got snubbed and missed out. I think they did good this year. Got just about everything right. Some of the seeding could have been a little bit better. I know we talked about that beforehand, but as far as teams not making it, I think they did a good job this year, and I think they got it right. What do you think?
I do too. I like looking at it. I'm looking over here at my screen. I wouldn't know a team if they got snubbed, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, all of them got in that deserved to get in, and even some that probably didn't deserve to. But I don't know who they're getting replaced with. So, um, I like the teams. They did very well, I think. However, you kind of mentioned it. We mentioned it before the show. The seedings. Now, I I have a hot take on a seeding thing that I don't know how or why we started it, but playing games should be 16 seeds. To me, I don't know how
yes,
a play-in game can be a 10 seed. A 10 seed is that's pretty good. I mean, looking at it
yeah,
bracket wise, your matchups are not horrible as a 10 seed. I mean, your first game's against a 7. That's could be a whole lot worse. Um
yep.
I I don't know. That is my hot take. I don't think any playing game should be a 10 seed. I just think they all should be 16 seeds. I would even consider 15 seeds if they wanted to not make it 16, because I know 16 might be reserved for some of the smaller schools. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I don't know how we got to a 10 seed being a playing game. That's all. I don't
Right.
understand.
Yeah, and I mean, even when they expanded from 64 to 68, like what at that point, what are we doing? Like, what do we benefit from that? Because like, I don't think those extra four teams make any difference.
No.
If if you want to make the tournament, be better. Like, it's not
Yes.
like that. Most of these play-in teams are, you know, teams that are good, like relatively really good, and just really small schools. That's not how they operate most of the time. Like, they're teams that just barely make the cut. So at that
Hmm.
point, do away with it. So even with these talks of expansion to 72 or 76 teams, whatever, is ridiculous.
Yeah,
So
that's a lot.
that's somebody said the other day. Like, you always hear, don't if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
But this guy said, if it ain't broke, don't break it,
Yeah,
because that's what's gonna happen if you keep adding teams. You're gonna get all these lower end teams to play, and it just waters down the competition a little bit.
I agree. I agree. This isn't football. We're not competing for 4 spots. There's 64 of these teams, now 68. That's a lot of teams. Like, I mean, I know what all Division 1 is over 300, but I mean, I don't know percentages, but that's kind of a high percentage that makes your end of the year tournament out of all Division 1.
Yeah,
Um Compared to football that had 4 and is going to go to what, 12? Or 8, whatever it is. Whatever they're doing. I I agree with you. Those playing games are useless. Um, like you said, be better. Like, again, this year, Virginia. who clearly shouldn't have made it, ends up in. I mean, I know they probably could have made a run. I'm not going to say they couldn't have because of the program they are, but they were horrible in the ACC. Um, and look at they showed terrible against Colorado State. Like, and who's Colorado State? I mean, I don't know. I'm on board with you. They shouldn't be in there. And again, you're gonna
Yeah.
say, let's go up to 70, 72. Like, are we just adding more playing games? Or are you gonna go? Are you gonna add a whole nother like 17 seed and 18 seed, and then have other playing games from there? Like, I don't know. Just
Yeah.
leave it alone. Like,
Yeah. And that's I was listening to Dan Patrick show this morning, and that's what he was talking about on there. He's like, well, you look at all these other coaches, and why they're for it is they're like, oh, job security. We make the tournament, but like he was like, I argue it's complete opposite because like,
mm-hmm.
oh, like you think you expand the tournament, 8 more teams, 12 more teams, however you want to do it. Like you don't make the tournament, then like you're definitely getting fired. So
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's not really going to increase your job security at that point. It's lowering it. So
yeah.
I know the better teams, the better coaches, like you get your blue bloods and even other
Mm-hmm.
teams that make it all the time. They're not like they don't want it to happen. So I think
No,
it's crazy. I'd just drop back down to 64 and leave it at that.
yeah, yeah. I agree. And kind of like on you said, these blue, but the the epitome of college basketball teams. The 64 or 68 leaves there enough room where they might not make it in a year. Like, there has been years Kentucky has not been in. There has been years Carolina has not been in,
Yeah.
and last year being one of them. Um, I I just the 64 and 68. I mean, 68's too much, but if we're gonna go back to 64, it's perfect because it still makes you win games. If you go to
Yeah.
72, it's not going to matter. Those big teams are going to get in just for the draw themselves. And it, again, like you said, it waters down the competition. That is what's great about March Madness. And I know they're
Yeah.
trying to maybe add more like Cinderella teams and all this, but let's face it, that's not going to happen in a 16 seed. I mean, it's happened a couple times, but just adding more is not going to make it do that. Um,
Yeah.
so, in your opinion, and this is a little off topic of Selection Sunday per se, but speaking of like NILs, do you think in basketball it makes it more equal across all the tournament? I know you're still the top teams are going to only do NILs if you do it. But with a team, do you get the team like Kentucky had of John Wall, Bledsoe, Cousins? Do you get that anymore with NIL, or are those players spread out to make it a more even league when it comes tournament time per se?
Yeah. So it's hard to nail it down, but I think with NIL, like you get like I think Bronny James was the highest, you know, paid player in all of college sports, and like Shedeur Sanders was number 2.
Sure.
So I think to some degree
Mm-hmm.
it does, but at the same time, like it's just business as usual. I think because like especially for basketball, because I mean players love Kentucky
Mm-hmm.
because Cal knows how to get guys to the league. So I don't think it matters if there's another school out there that's offering them $8 million. Like they may take it, but at the same time, that they know, like if you go to, for instance, I mean, let's say NC State had offered Rob Dillingham $10 million. Like he may have been like, all right, cool, $10 million. I'm probably going to go there, but his development may have not been the same, and
Correct.
so he may have had to stay in college for a couple years, and still he's making money.
Hmm.
But if his ultimate goal is to get to the league, then I mean he made the right choice of coming to Kentucky because he's still going to make $1 million or so,
Sure.
$2 million. So he's
Sure.
making plenty of money. So I don't know. It's hard to say. I think like players like Dalton Connect, who went from like South Dakota, I think,
Yep.
to Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Like Kentucky may have offered him $4 or $5 million. I don't know, but Tennessee may have said, "Hey, we'll give you $1 million, but you're going to be like the guy." So
Right. Sure.
I think money plays a factor, but I think more of it is what your role is going to be, how quick you can get me to my goal, which whether
Mhm.
it is making money or get me
It's
to
the
the
league.
league. Because to be honest, most guys aren't. I just want to win championship after
No.
championship in college. They want to either make a ton of money or get to the league. Either one.
Yeah. Yeah. I see that. I I actually don't know if basketball is going to be affected as much just because they have a lot of options outside of college to make money and still play basketball now. With what is that, the overtime elite stuff, and hell, just overseas alone. I mean, that guy, kind of back in our high school days, I think, was it Moutier? Emmanuel Moutier? That was supposed to go to, he was supposed to go to
I
Ole
can't.
Miss or one
Yeah,
of those, and then he
and then
flipped and
went
went
pregnant with like
overseas.
France or something. Yeah,
Yeah, I made 3 million in a year. I mean,
yeah,
so I don't know. I don't think the NIL is big in basketball, as it will be in football because you got to stay 3 years, like unless they start changing that rule. But that's for a different discussion. So overall, I mean, I think we're both happy with how the tournament looks, um, so far. As far as kind of our brackets, um, kind of how we'll do this is, well, the hell with it. We'll just go through every game quick, pick our winners, and then if we got to say something about it, I mean, some of these are just going to be they're the winners no matter what, kind of these upper seeds and stuff. So we'll kind of run through it. I'll pull mine up quick, which I'd want to point out at the time of recording this, I am perfect in 3 out of the 4 of my brackets, two of which are in our 2315 sports show little group we got. So now that I probably jinxed it, I'm going to go downhill real quick this next round. But so let's start. So first game on the east side, UConn and Stetson. I think we're both on UConn here. I don't think a 16 seed's going
yeah,
to upset this one. Next one going down the line is FAU and Northwestern. So this is an 8-9 seed game. And I had FAU on this one.
yeah. I really don't know much about either team. Haven't watched
Same.
either team, so I just went with Northwestern. It was just a pick.
Okay.
So
So
Northwestern.
the only thing I knew Northwestern just because where we are, we're in Big Ten country. So I haven't heard a lot of things about them. So I know they're kind of down in the league per se. Now I have no clue
Okay.
about Florida Atlantic. So I just went, what the hell? Florida Atlantic. So
Yeah.
next one, we have the 5-12 matchup, which is always kind of a deadly matchup. This is where a lot of teams kind of make their mark. However, in this one, you got San Diego State and UAB. I went with San Diego State. I think,
Same.
yeah,
It's
they're pretty good actually.
Yeah, they're 7.5 point favorites, but
Yep.
I know, like you said, 12-5 is always a chance for an upset. But I went San Diego State. I think they're too good this year to
Yep.
say they're going to get upset.
Agreed. You got Auburn, Yale, 4 and a 13 matchup. We both went Auburn, I'm sure.
Yeah, Auburn's on fire
Um,
right now, so they're playing
yes.
well.
So next one we got 6 and 11, which actually can kind of be another little upset city right here. And again, at the time of recording this, it is, and I called it. You got BYU and Duquesne, and I picked Duquesne in this one.
Yeah, so did I. I picked Duquesne, which they already got the win, but
Yep,
I had them. I had them win in my bracket in both of them actually. So,
same.
uh,
And why I don't know.
my,
I
yeah,
couldn't tell you. Just it was a feel thing, you know.
I'm not a big fan of them BYU people. So,
No, except Zach Wilson. Uh,
yeah, he's a
he's a
mom
flop, but
killer.
he's a yeah. As far as
Yeah,
my fantasy football name goes, we'll leave that be. That might have to be this year's fantasy football team. So or no, not last. Sorry. Moving on, we got a 3-14. We got Illinois over Morehead State. Illinois, I'm sure we both have that.
yeah, I got
And they're kind
Illinois
of
as
cooking
well.
right now. So
Yep,
coming off the
I would
Big
have
Ten
liked to
win.
see Moorhead, but
You'd like what now? Want to say
I
that
would have
again?
liked to see. Yeah, you heard what I said.
Had to throw that in there. So,
Shout out to the wife.
yeah. Let's see. So, Washington at number set, or Washington State and Drake. So, I picked another upset here. This is a 7-10 matchup. I picked Drake for no apparent reason, just because.
Yeah, hey, I got Drake as well, so just I had to go with it. So
They got them. Never mind. I'm not going to say that. So we'll move on to that next one. We got a 2 Iowa State, 15 South Dakota State. Iowa State all the way. They're playing
Iowa State.
ridiculous. They're playing
Yep, Iowa
ridiculous.
State.
So now we move to my team side of the bracket, the West. We got Carolina and Wagner. Definitely Carolina on that one for both.
I picked Wagner, but
Did you? Didn't even know Wagner
No.
was going to be in, and you picked them.
No, I got Carolina in it for sure.
This one was a tough. This next one was a tough one that actually messed up people a lot today. So Mississippi State and Michigan State. I had Michigan State. I'm not going to bet against Izzo first game of the tournament. I'll definitely bet against him next game. But
I shouldn't have, but I did. I went Mississippi State.
okay,
I thought the SEC was tough this year, so I got a couple. I got let down with the SEC in the first round so far. So I did. I picked Mississippi State. Yeah,
it happens. It happens. We all can't be perfect,
that's right. We're not you.
So, so a 5-12, another questionable matchup. We got St. Mary's and Grand Canyon. In this bracket, this is my main one, I would say. I got St. Mary's, and I think I picked them on both in our group. But on one of mine, I did pick Grand Canyon just because St. Mary's won, their conference for the first time in quite a while over Gonzaga. I feel like they may have used all their energy up on that. So this one scares me a little bit for them.
Yeah. I think this one could be the upset, the 5-12 upset. But I did pick St. Mary's as well. I had a tough time picking a lot of these, and I was like, oh, this could be the upset, but I just kind of went with my first instinct instead of my gut, and I did. I picked St. Mary's on this one.
Yep, same. Next match, I got a 4-13 Alabama Charleston. Picked Alabama, obviously.
Same.
Roll Tide.
That's right.
So we got a 6-11 Clemson and New Mexico. I picked New Mexico.
Okay, I picked Clemson.
Okay,
but I'm not
loving it.
They've got a kid on their team. I'm shooting blanks on his name, and I'm getting frustrated. But he's transferred a couple times, but he averaged like 50 some points in high school.
Damn.
And I'm like, this is a guy that could just
show up.
That could just show up and ball out the whole tournament. So Clemson's kind of a sneaky Final Four pick for some people, and I like them to travel a little bit. But I'm going Clemson for sure over New Mexico on this one.
All right. All right. So we have 3-14. We got Baylor Colgate. I picked Baylor. I'm sure you did too.
Same.
7-10. Dayton versus Nevada. This game just ended before we recorded this. We're not doing a live, but this would have been the one that would have wrecked my perfection because they were up. Nevada was up pretty big. And like we both said, we just finished watching this before getting on, and Dayton ended up coming back winning, and I did pick them. So you had them too.
I had Nevada.
You had Nevada?
No, I had Nevada winning in both of my brackets. So
that one hurt.
I don't know why I went, but it does a little bit, but it'll be okay. Right. I had whoever losing the next round anyway, so
same.
Won't hurt too bad.
Last one of the West is Arizona Long Beach State. Fortunately, I got to go Arizona, and they did. So, all right. And then, so now we have your bracket, I believe, right? No.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. The West or the South.
South. So we got Houston, Longwood. We both had Houston, I'm sure. 8-9 matchup, Nebraska and Texas A&M. I'm betting we both have Texas A&M too.
I love Texas A&M. I think they are one of the toughest matchups, but I couldn't go against the Asian Steph Curry. Yep. I had to pick him. That Tominaga kid, he is a baller
from Nebraska.
And so I was like, he may go out there, and him and Hubbard are going to go, head to head, and it'll be a good matchup. But I did. I picked Nebraska on this one.
Okay. All right. Another 5-12 deadly, and this one is the deadly one for where we live in our state. We're about an hour north of Madison, Wisconsin, which is where UW plays, and I went with James Madison. This team is like 31-3, and they are quick, and Wisconsin does not play quick, so I got a huge upset here with James Madison, and I think they actually might. I didn't pick them in this one, but my other bracket, I made them going pretty far because they're pretty good, actually.
Okay. That's what I like, James Madison. I think I think it's a pace game. Whoever controls the pace is who wins the game. But I've got Wisconsin just for experience. So
I got you. And I mean, James Madison, the name of the city. Madison, Wisconsin. So I'm like, oh yeah, this team's going to destroy them. So I won't be perfect tomorrow. I can almost guarantee it. But next matchup, we got the Duke Blue Devils and the Vermont, I don't know, maple syrups. I don't know what they're called. It looks like they have a horse. So, but I go Duke, obviously. I'm sure you do too.
Oh, I did too. I
didn't want to.
I struggle picking Duke in March, even though, we both hate Duke. But you're like, you got to pick them because they're good. But at the same time, they either play really, really well in March or they struggle. And so I was like, what version are we going to get this year? So, but I went ahead and I picked Duke to get it at least through the first round.
Yep, I agree. We got a 6-11 matchup, Texas Tech and NC State. I had NC State. NC State's playing out of their mind right now, coming off an ACC title that they haven't won in years.
Yeah. Yeah, and they beat who? Duke and North Carolina, and then
they beat Duke.
Who'd they beat?
They played 5 games in the ACC tournament. So they played first day, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth. They did beat Duke and North Carolina in the championship. They beat someone in between there, though.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I can't remember. So they're playing out of their mind right now. So I took them.
They're hot right now.
Yes.
So
they could honestly make a run. I mean, they could. I didn't pick it, but they could take down. I mean, our next matchup is Kentucky, Oakland. We both got UK on that one. They could take them down the way they're playing because they're playing insane. So that's a scary matchup right there.
I really like in this one. I like UK to win, but Oakland makes
worries
me a
you?
little nervous,
Yeah.
a little bit, because they've I want to say Rocket Watts plays for
Rocket
Oakland now.
Watts.
He committed to Mississippi State, played a year or somewhere before that, and then transferred to Mississippi State, and then just kept Michigan State.
Transfer.
He went to
Oh,
Michigan
okay. Yep.
State and played with Izzo, and then
Mm,
transferred to Mississippi State, and then transferred again. And so I
mm,
believe I believe I'm correct on that. So
okay.
we'll see. Right now we're winning 4-3. So
4-3. I see that. Big,
let's go.
close game.
Yep,
Uh, so we got Florida, Colorado. I got Florida on this. I'm sure you do too, just being an SEC school.
I do. They're playing good ball right now as well. So
They are. I know. I saw they lost their. Like I watched that game, the SEC title game, and that dude went out like within 3 minutes or 4 minutes. Got stretchered
yeah,
off. I don't know whatever happened to him, but I still got faith in them for the first round anyway.
yeah,
And then 2:15, we got Marquette and Western. As much as I want to pick Western Kentucky, I got to
yep,
go Marquette. Like
yeah.
any other game, I probably would pick them just because, but not
So
against Marquette.
that's what I would love to see Western win.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, 30 minutes away from us, so
Mm-hmm.
it would be cool to see them pull a huge upset, because
Oh
that would be a
yes,
massive upset. But Marquette's too good.
yes.
I don't think they. I think it's gonna be a 15-point game.
And Shaka's been there and done that, so
Yep.
he knows a lot about it. So I got Marquette. And
Yep.
our final, we got Purdue and Grambling. We got Purdue on that, I'm sure.
Yep.
Utah State and TCU. I had no clue on this. I just went TCU just because, strictly
Okay.
because.
That's I picked Utah State just strictly because I
Okay,
haven't watched either one of them play. So
nice. So we got Gonzaga and McNeese. Now we talked about this on kind of before we jumped on my bracket. The one I'm going by, I did pick Gonzaga. I think I picked them in both in our show's little tournament here. My one bracket, I did pick McNeese just because the Gonzaga we're seeing is not the Gonzaga of old. So they kind of worry me a little bit. And McNeese is actually decent. So I could
yeah,
see them getting tripped up here, but I did take Gonzaga.
that's I really like McNeese, and I think they could be. I think they can be another sleeper to make a good
Mm-hmm.
run. Um, but Gonzaga, that the big they got, Ike or Ike or whatever his name is dominant.
Yeah,
And like I remember when they played Kentucky at Rupp, he ate
dominated.
all their lunches. So I think,
Okay.
yeah. So I think he's tough. He's going to be a tough, too tough to handle for a small school like McNeese.
Okay. All right. Next matchup, we got 14 Kansas, 13 Samford. A little disclaimer: Kansas lost one of their main guys before even coming into this,
Yep.
so that kind of I still pick them to get past the first round, but might not be much
Yeah,
further than that because they might struggle a little bit.
yeah. That's what, I think this bracket, the whole Midwest is full of potential upsets.
Mm-hmm.
I do think Samford can beat them, but
Yeah,
I have Kansas as well. I went with,
being there.
I was like, it's Kansas. Like they may lose, but my money's on them winning, for my
Yes.
bracket's sake. So I went
Yep.
with Kansas.
I agree. I agree. Next one, kind of a 6-11, another crazy one. South Carolina and Oregon, and this was finished today, and I actually got this one right too. I did pick Oregon in this, and the only reason why I saw them play in the Pac-12 tournament a little bit, and they were cooking. So
Yeah.
that's the only reason why I picked them. They stuck out to me.
I picked South Carolina, so I'm like hovering
SEC.
around the 50% mark right now. I'm
Okay,
struggling,
it's all
but
right. So it's a
but
long tournament. Long tournament.
It is. It is. We'll see how everything else goes. But I did. I went South Carolina on this one.
All right. We got a 3-14. We got Creighton and Akron. I went Creighton on this, and Creighton
Same.
did win. I think Creighton's kind of I don't want to say an undervalue 3, but they're kind of scary.
Yeah.
They're scary at the 3. Like, they could make a solid run at this thing for sure.
They are.
So,
I like Creighton. I think they can make some noise. They can put the ball in the hoop
yes.
full of scores. So we'll see how that goes. But I do think that they can make some noise.
Mm-hmm. We have one game going on right now at halftime. This next one's 7 Texas, 10 Colorado State. Texas is up 27-11, so by 16. I did pick Texas to win this.
27-11 at halftime.
Yes.
And Colorado
horrible
State's
game.
at play. So we
There you
need to
go.
eliminate
The
play-ins for the number 10 because this
Yes.
11 points is abysmal. Like, get them
Yes.
out of there. They don't even need. They don't deserve to be playing right now.
I mean, honestly, 27 isn't that great either, but I'll chalk
It's
some of it up to nerves. But yeah, the play-in seeds shouldn't be. Not at all.
Yeah. And I, of course, picked Texas to win. So,
yes. I mean, to me, James Madison earned a better right to be at a 10 than that Colorado State. I bet they'd score more than 11 points in a half. So,
100%.
Last game, Tennessee, St. Peter's. As much as I wanted to pick St. Peter's, because the way they have done, the way they did the tournament a couple years ago, and for them to beat like Kentucky and then come back 2 years later and beat Tennessee.
Both as 15 seeds.
Exactly. As much as the fate I wanted to, I couldn't. I did pick Tennessee. I think they're going to come out with a little vengeance from the SEC tournament. So
yeah, they're rested up. They're playing good ball still. So I like old Rocky Flop to win that one.
Rocky Flop. So back up to the top, you have. I got UConn over FAU on that one.
Okay.
So
I've got UConn over Northwestern.
Northwestern. So we both got UConn. This next one is tough. This is Auburn and San Diego State. And I got Auburn because they're just, again, playing out of their minds.
They are. They're playing really good ball. And I don't really know what my thinking behind it was, but I picked San Diego State.
Okay. I like it. Unfortunately, this is where my Duquesne pick falls. I got Illinois over Duquesne. Again,
Same.
Illinois is just too good.
Yep. I got Illinois over Duquesne as well.
And then I have Iowa State over Drake, which you probably have Iowa State over Washington State, right? Or did you pick Drake?
No, I picked Drake, and I actually have Drake over Iowa State.
Oh,
Drake. 10 seed
Drake
going
missiles?
to the Sweet 16. That's right. You want to just keep running through this bracket to the east there?
Yeah, we could. Yeah. Yeah, all right, so moving on east, I got UConn over Auburn, so you probably have them over San Diego State.
I got UConn over San Diego State. Yep.
All right, and I got Illinois over Iowa State. So do you have Illinois over Drake?
I do. This is where Drake's run comes to an end. Okay. I got Illinois over Drake.
Okay. So after that, I would have UConn over Illinois. So UConn for me is part of the Final Four for the East.
That's why I got UConn over Illinois as well. UConn to the Final Four.
All right. So where are we at? Are we in the round of 32 in the West? Yeah.
Yep.
So I got North Carolina over Michigan State.
Same. Got Carolina winning.
Alabama over St. Mary's.
Yep, same.
Baylor over New Mexico.
I got Clemson over Baylor.
Ooh, okay. All right. That's where they're making their run. And then I do have Arizona over Dayton.
Okay. I had Arizona over Nevada, so I think Arizona advances no matter what.
Gotcha. And then I have North Carolina over Alabama.
Same.
And then I have Arizona over Baylor.
And I got Arizona over Clemson.
Okay. And then I do have UNC coming out of the West to the Final Four.
I think this may
over
be
Arizona,
Caleb
which
Love's
that would be just a crazy game. I mean, I hope it happens. And really, as much as I want my team to win, I'm not going to say I won't care because I will be upset. But a little part of me will be like, you know what, good for him. Like, he did.
That's what I wanted to pick Arizona for that, just to get your reaction out of it, but I couldn't do it, and I picked Carolina over Arizona.
It wouldn't have been much of a reaction, just because I like him.
Been like, yeah, all right,
he's my guy. Like, I hope they go far. So, going down to the South, I do have Houston over Texas A&M.
Okay, I've got Houston over Nebraska.
Okay. I do have Duke over James Madison, which I really want to pick James Madison, but
I've got Wisconsin over Duke.
Over Duke. Oh. So Wisconsin to the Sweet 16, huh?
That's right.
I got UK over North Carolina State.
Same.
And then Marquette over Florida.
I've got Florida over Marquette.
Oh, upset. Big upset. I do have Houston over Duke. So do you have Houston over
Houston over Wisconsin?
Wisconsin. Yeah. And then I do have UK over Marquette.
I've got UK over Florida.
And then unfortunately I do have Houston over UK on this main. I think I did pick UK on my other one, but I got Houston.
I wanted
running that one.
I was looking at it and I was like, my heart saying UK, my head said Houston. Mm-hmm. I was like, Houston defensively, if they slow us down a little bit, I don't know how good their offense is, but it's got to be better than our defense. So my head said Houston, but I went with my heart.
There you go.
Big Blue
you got
Houston going to the Final Four.
Nice. Midwest, I do have Purdue over TCU.
Okay, I've got Purdue over Utah State.
Okay, and I got Gonzaga over Kansas on that one.
Same. I got Gonzaga over Kansas. So I think that injury for Kansas that hurts them a lot. So.
I agree. I got Creighton over Oregon. And
I had Creighton over South Carolina.
Tennessee over Texas.
Same.
So next we got Sweet 16 matchup. I got Purdue over Gonzaga.
I've got Gonzaga over Purdue.
That where they fall?
So
I like it.
This is where the first number 1 seed goes out for me.
Okay. And then I do have Tennessee over Creighton.
Same. I think Dalton Knecht is too much.
Gotcha. And this is where I do have Purdue making it. So I really have, I guess I have all the number 1 seeds making it technically. So I have Purdue making it to the Final Four.
And I've got Gonzaga beating Tennessee to go to the Final Four.
Okay.
And I think they're playing good ball right now. They're not the same team, but I think they're a good team.
Good enough. Okay.
Yep.
So the Final Four matchups, I have North Carolina over UConn on this one. My other one, I do have UConn over North Carolina because UConn is playing very well, but I had to go a heart pick on my main one, obviously. So my boys aren't losing.
That's how I went. I know it's a little bit of a homer bracket on some of it, but I did the same. I picked North Carolina over UConn. I think UConn's the most complete team in basketball. But I don't know. I think maybe Baycott going to be a little bit too much. RJ Davis, a little bit too much. It's that time of year.
Yes.
Whoever's hot.
Yep. And then I do have Purdue over Houston. So Purdue is making it to the title game.
So I went Kentucky over Gonzaga. I don't think they're going to beat us twice. Guard play wins in March. And we've got the best guards in the country. Rob Dillingham, DJ Wagner, Reed Shepard, Antonio Reeves. Like, we're tough. We can put the ball in the basket. So if somebody can beat us with not letting us score, like, good for you. but we're going to score at least 80 points every game. So you
Yep.
better outscore us.
So in other words, that means you have Carolina and Kentucky
I
in the
do.
title game.
I do. I like
So
it.
I
Rematch from
don't,
earlier in the year.
but I have Carolina and Purdue, and I do have Carolina winning. I'm sure you have Kentucky winning.
Of course. Of
Yeah.
course. They played earlier in the year, and, it went
If that
our
happens,
way.
you played us earlier in the year, but if that happens, we'll let you win the regular season. You ain't winning the championship.
Hey,
That's
I've
how that
got the
goes.
Cats. I think, like I said, our guard play is tough. So
Mhm.
as long as we play our best games, which I think we will, uh, I don't see us losing. This has got to be our year.
Well, that's kind of how I am with Carolina. See, I said that last year. Last year should have been their year. Last year they were set up with Love,
Y'all had 2
RJ
years
Davis.
ago,
They had
though.
two of the best guard. They had the best guards in the nation by leaps and bounds. There was no one even close.
Yeah,
And they had one of the best big men in the nation. I think he's underrated on a lot of people's radar,
yeah,
but Baycott
100%.
he's one of the best bigs in the league, and um, it just didn't happen. So this year, I mean, they're kind of built the same. Our freshman Cadeau is more of a passer than Caleb Love was, but he also can't score like Caleb Love, so that's why it kind of worries me a little bit. But we do have our like 26-year-old in Cormac Ryan who is a baller. So that kind of helps the
Yeah.
scoring side. So I think he is the catalyst of the whole tournament coming in. I think he makes a difference, kind of like Manick did last year, Brady Manick.
Oh yeah.
But I think he makes a bigger one because he can actually play a little defense and can drop 30 any night. So I think he's our catalyst. I think we go as far as he goes.
That's what Carolina's tough. They're a good team. They're a complete team. So with the experience that they have, I think honestly, I think a lot of that, if Kentucky's going to lose somewhere along the way, it's because of the inexperience. Like right now, we're down by 6 with 8 minutes to go
Worrisome
in the first half. Like they're not shooting the ball well. I mean, neither team is. 8 of 24 for Oakland, 7 of 18 for the Cats.
Okay.
So we're struggling, but the inexperience is what's tough. So
Sure.
if they can, I don't know. I think that's what's going to kill them if they lose somewhere along the way. It's going to be the inexperience, the freshmen. So
I can see that, which is that's acceptable. That's going to happen.
yeah,
So it should be a good tournament, though. I'm pretty excited for it. It's probably the most collectively competitive tournament we've probably had in a while. Like,
yeah,
I mean, UConn seems to be the leading number one. Like, I'll put that out there, but I don't know. Like, and I would honestly say, like everyone was saying, I think everyone was saying your guys' bracket was the easiest. I'm not so sure on that.
I think it's one of the hardest. I mean,
I
Florida, Marquette,
yeah,
Houston, Duke, like there's
I think
good. There's 5, 6 good, really good teams in there.
yeah. I mean, I truly believe, and it pains me to say, but I think, and this is why I think they're going to make the run to it. I think Carolina has the easiest.
I
Like if
do
you
too.
look at it,
I do too.
I mean, their biggest competitor, which will be more so a mental one than anything, is Arizona at number 2, just because Caleb Love's there. I mean, you go down the line. Baylor's not the Baylor of old. Alabama, I mean, St. Mary's is our number 5. Like that conference is hit or miss. Clemson has beat us, but they're going to have to get past Arizona first. So I really do. I think all in all, Carolina has probably the easiest route to the Final Four that you could get. But that also scares me the most, unfortunately. Like, because I think if they think that way, it's over. Like, they're not going to make it. So,
Just one game at a time.
one game at a time.
That's
We
what
got
I
the
do.
first one out of the way. First one out of the way and cooking.
I like Carolina. I like the experience that they have.
Mhm.
It matters.
The only
So I think, but 2 years ago, did y'all win it?
no.
Y'all missed
Uh,
y'all missed the tournament last year, didn't you?
yeah, yeah, I'm
Or was
pretty
it 2
sure.
years ago you missed the tournament?
No, it was last year because Caleb Love transferred out this past year.
That's right.
So,
That one year y'all were really good and you made it
mhm.
pretty far. Maybe you lost in the championship game. I can't remember.
Yeah, we
But
haven't.
they've got the experience. But UConn, that's what I like UConn. I do. Like I said, I think they're the most complete team.
Hmm.
But they brought back a whole new starting five this year.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be
So
interesting. I like that coach
I don't
though.
know. We'll just have to see how. I mean, it's going to be a great. I do too. It's going to be a great tournament.
Yep.
I've been excited. I've watched a few games, and I'm gonna watch a bunch of games tomorrow. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I think my last point of it all, and if Carolina, Kentucky meet in the title, the biggest, I think what separates it is the coaching that has been there. And I really think Cal has an edge over Hubert. Even though Hubert's had immediate success, I mean, he made the run with Caleb Love and Baycott, but they end up losing to Kansas. That's the one you're thinking of, I think, where they made that
yeah,
run and Love was hitting crazy shots, and we were one rebound away of winning a title, and Baycott tweaks his ankle and couldn't get up high enough. So
yep,
um,
yep.
I just think in that scenario, Cal beats him just because he's been there. I mean, I don't want
Okay.
to say titles, just
Yeah,
he's been a coach for longer. That's what I'd say. Although Cal's
yeah.
made some pretty bonehead stuff, so I could see the pressure seeing another blue blood there going title for title. I mean, that separates them again.
It'll be great.
So
Yeah.
I don't think it'll happen, but one of us is going to flake, and it'll probably be us. So, um, but should
I
be a
hate
good
to say it,
tournament.
but we're not making.
Actually, probably both of us will flake the next round. Both of us will be out, and we won't have shit to cheer for. But if that's the case, I'm cheering for Arizona all the way. They're winning. I don't care. Um,
I don't know what I'll do.
Arizona, that's my guy. So, but good show went a little longer
Yeah,
than I thought. But so go catch the. Why don't you hit him with the outro and go catch the UK game that's going on?
that's right. All right, everybody. We just want to thank you for tuning in, however and wherever you may be listening. If you like the content you're receiving, hit the follow button. YouTube, Twitter, Spotify, Apple Pod, anywhere where you can get podcast. See you next week. Peace. Go Cats.